Hello YouTube, Kelsicarox HEF. This is going to be a slightly different video. I'm sorry about the angle here. There's a really bright light, and if I put the camera up to show my face, it gets really bad glare. But I'm going to show you my record collection. As everyone knows, I play music, and I love listening to music. And my dog just walked in. Hey girl. But so I'm in my room right now where I record stuff. So I'm going to start off here with a couple singles. I don't have that many singles or 45s. But I'm going to go ahead and show off the ones I do have. I don't drop it. People Are Strange, The Doors, which is a freaking awesome song. The B-side is Unhappy Girl. And play that funky music, Wild Cherry. This is mostly a joke, but whatever, you know. I think the most I've ever paid for a record in this whole stack was $5, and the one I did pay was well worth it. Most of these I paid a quarter to 50 cents for. You Can't Always Get What You Want, the Rolling Stones. Rock and Roll Part 1 and Rock and Roll Part 2 by Gary Glitter. Lord Mr. Ford by Jerry Reed. I almost forgot his name. I almost called him Jerry Lee Lewis. We got The Who. This is the Call Me Lightning single. The B-side of which is Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. As to my knowledge, this song has never been released on CD. It's only available on this single, if I'm correct. And it's a pretty good song, too. It's weird, but it's good. And another joke one here, we have Tony Basil, Mickey. Nice to have, I guess. And then we have Elton John, Goodbye Yellow Brick Road, with Young Man Blues as the B-side. And then lastly here, probably the best single I have, John Lennon's Instant Karma, which is amazing. John Lennon's probably one of my favorite musicians. And then now we're going to get into the actual albums here. All of them are complete except for one, I think. So I'm going to start off here with a hilarious album. That's Keith Moon's Two Sides of the Moon. If you know, Keith Moon's not a very good singer. He doesn't really even play the drums on this album. This is the back of the album, I believe. This is the front. The cool thing is it has, you remove this, then the album does something funny if you put this in backwards. To show you his sense of humor. And remember, the album's Two Sides of the Moon, and he's Keith Moon. Haha, classic. Great album. You have a soundtrack to one of my favorite movies, Rocky. Contrary to popular belief, Eye of the Tiger is not this, because Eye of the Tiger was first used in Rocky 4. But has a Rocky theme, which is awesome. And I do have Eye of the Tiger, the single. I forgot to grab it, but it's there also. This next one's in kind of really bad shape, but like I said, I only paid a quarter for it. The album itself is fine, but the album cover leaves a lot to be desired. It's Queen's The Game. Someone drew all over it with a pen, and it's kind of torn up. But it plays. The sleeve is just a little rough shape. Pretty good album. Now, I'm not a big fan of 80s Who, but here's It's Hard. Worth it just for Eminence Front. And it's an alright album. You know, they really lost a lot when they lost Keith Moon. Nirvana's debut album, Bleach, which is an awesome album. This isn't the reissue. This is an earlier run. It's a really good album. I love it a lot. More heavier and less poppy, but still pretty good. I don't really like Van Halen, but here we have Van Halen 2. I keep it mostly just because of Spanish Fly, which is probably my favorite Van Halen song. I don't really like butt rocks too much. Boots Randolph, Yakety Sax. For those of you who don't know, Yakety Sax is the theme song for Benny Hill. So I found this on vinyl. It was worth, you know, the dollar I paid for it, probably. More butt rock, Quiet Riot, Mental Health. Again, I know I said I don't really like this, but Slick Black Cadillac's an awesome song. I like the Randy Rhoads era Quiet Riot a lot better. The songwriting's not as good, but the guitar playing is there because I love Randy Rhoads. But this was their first album without Randy. Fleetwood Mac Rumors. Now let's just say, it's a classic album. And we have Fleetwood Mac's Self-Titled. This is the one album I don't have the sleeve for, and that makes me sad because it's one of my favorite album covers. But I only paid $0.25 for it, so I wasn't going to pass it up just because it didn't have the sleeve. That's Rush's Fly By Night, which is an awesome album. We have here Songs of Christmas. No record collection is complete without a Christmas record. It's really not, I promise. Phil Collins, No Jacket Required. Good album. Other band I'm not really a big fan of, Kiss, Dynasty. It's okay. I don't think it's one of their better albums. The Kinks, Give the People What They Want. Again, not one of their better albums, but it's still pretty good. Men at Work, Land Down Under. Business as Usual is the album name. Pretty cool album. Again, I probably paid about 50 cents for it, but I love it. I believe is this a double album? No, this is not a double album. Jerry Lee Lewis, Live in Las Vegas. It's alright. He doesn't really play many of his hits. The only really well-known song on here is, well, actually, none of these are really that well-known, but it's still a pretty good album to listen to, especially if you're more interested in his more obscure stuff. Another live album, Johnny Cash Live at Folsom Prison. Huh. This is an awesome record, one of the best of all time. Flush from the Bathroom of Your Heart and Dirty Old Egg-Sucking Dog are unbelievable. We got here Kiss Alive 2. An album I'm really excited. Ooh, sorry, I didn't mean to bump the microphone there. Sorry for that noise. An album I've really enjoyed because I love Americana. So we have great songs of America. It's got Battle Hymn of the Republic, which is awesome. Dixie, Stars and Stripes Forever, The Star Spangled Banner, Rock Island Line, Bury Me on the Lone Prairie, Home on the Range. The guy who actually wrote Home on the Range back in the 1800s actually was born about 20 miles from where I live. Next up, George Thorogood and the Destroyers. I love George Thorogood. I love his snakeskin jacket. I want one. Something I'm not really proud to own. I mostly bought it for one song. Grease. I bought it just for Hydro Thunder. Hydro Thunder. Grease Lightning. I don't know why it's Hydro Thunder. A double album. I believe this is a compilation hit. It's The Doors. Weird Scenes Inside the Gold Mine. Now, it looks like it's really beat up, but that's actually what the album looks like. It's supposed to look like that. It's supposed to look really weird. Here's the back. Def Leppard, High and Dry. I don't really like Def Leppard, but again, cheap and it's alright. Boston's Self-Titled. Pretty good record right here. Boston, they're interesting, but man, they're weird too. Something that no record collection is complete without. The Chariots of Fire soundtrack. Yes, yes, yes. Blackfoot Striker. If you like Lynyrd Skynyrd, they're basically like a heavier version of Lynyrd Skynyrd. Train Train is awesome. Highway Song. It's a really good album all around. And we got the Moonlight Sonata with the flip side of Pathétique, which I believe is how you say that. Sonata number 8 in C minor. Love me some Beethoven. It's always nice to have. This is a weird album right here. It's called I Write the Songs by the Living Strings, and it's basically orchestrated versions of like famous songs like Dreamweaver, Dream On, Beth, Mandy, songs like that. It's weird. I don't even know where it came from. I don't remember buying it. Another one that I don't remember buying, but I keep around just because. We got Emotions, which is a compilation album. The reason I keep it around is because it has Don't Give Up on Us by David Soul, who was in the original Starsky and Hutch. That was his big hit. We got the Ventures live on stage. I haven't really listened to much of the Ventures, so I picked this up. Hopefully, I haven't really got a chance to listen to it yet, but hopefully it'll give me some insight into the Ventures. But I know they're pretty famous for Wipeout mostly. Number 1, rock hits of the 70s. When I bought my record player, the guy actually gave this to me. But it's got some pretty good songs on here, like by the Funky Music White Boy, which I already have on vinyl, and Dr. Hook cover of the Rolling Stones. Pretty good songs. Classic album. The Eagles, Hotel California. The Gatefold. Ooh, love Gatefolds. The Music Man, the original Broadway version, which I love. I love The Music Man. It's one of my favorite things ever. So many awesome songs. Jim Croce, You Don't Mess Around with Jim. Amazing. Talk about some classic, amazing artwork right here. Molly Hatchet, Flirting with Disaster. God damn, I love Molly Hatchet. I speed listening to this album. Well, the CD version, obviously. But then we got Tommy the Movie soundtrack. So this isn't the actual Tommy album. It's the movie versions of all the songs. But it's still awesome. Great. I paid, I think, $3 for it. It's a double album. One of the more expensive records I've bought, actually. The most expensive record I've ever bought is this one. Dark Side of the Moon. I paid $5 for it on vinyl at a flea market. I wouldn't normally pay that much for a record, but it's Pink Floyd, and this is an amazing album, so I thought it was worth it. Cheap Trick in color and in black and white. Cheap Trick's alright. I'm not a big Cheap Trick fan. The Eagles, One of Those Nights. Classic album. I really like this one. It has a really nice textured feel to it. Sorry about that. Paul Simon's Greatest Hits. Yeah, Paul Simon. Gatefold. Paul Simon's a pretty cool guy. My drummer got me into them. Or got me into him, I should say. Another double album here. Elton John's Goodbye Yellow Brick Road. Which is a pretty good album. It's actually a pretty nice gatefold. Look at this. Yeah. I like all the illustrations that go along with the song titles and stuff. It's really cool. This right here is actually a single, which is weird. It's not a 45. Well, it's not 45 sized, but it's a 7-inch. This is a single, so it has one song on it, compared to the size of a normal single. So this is a 7-inch, I believe, and it's pretty good. It might be a 12-inch. I'm not sure. I'm not good with the inches. I just know the RPM. So it's a 33 or a 45, and this is also a 45, which is weird. Whatever. This is a German import single. Place wanted like $8 for it, but they were going out of business, and like records were like 75% off, so I got it for really cheap. We got more of the Monkees. Just listening to this earlier, and it actually is not a reprint. They reprinted this album in early on in 1969 in stereo, and the original late 1967 version was in mono. This is the original mono version, identifiable by the fact that it actually says Colgums, which is the record company, and doesn't have their emblem. It's a pretty good album. I'd never really listened to the Monkees before that. Peter Frampton. I could live without it, but like I said, a quarter I wasn't going to pass up. Some decent music. The last album is probably my favorite of all the actual albums I own. Not CD-wise, but just out of the records. I paid a quarter for it. It's not in excellent shape. The bottom was coming out. The side was split. I fixed it with some tape, but it still got writing on it, and it's really worn, but still. Classic album nonetheless. You ready? Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. And I'd like to thank C. Cole for writing his name on it. Really awesome, nice of him. I love the Beatles so much. Just recently picked up this on CD, the remaster. It's so good. It's got the psychedelic sleeve there. There's the album. An amazing album. I love Sgt. Pepper. But thanks, guys. I just wanted to show you off some of my vinyl records. I've been wanting to do this video for quite a while. I just never really got around to it. Glad I finally got to do that. So, thanks for watching!